get to the point of living the dream, well, this is where you end up if you don't work hard at school. With the rumours of the tour potentially returning to the UK in 2027, I thought it'd be a good idea to go and reminisce and see some of the old Grand Depart routes from the tour when it visited Yorkshire, but with a slight twist on a potential slightly different dream that I've been loaned. But I'm going to go out on the pushback this morning on the Cannondale and come back, talk more about my experience of the tour, my dream of the tour, and then go and revisit some of these routes later on. Somebody's gonna know. You laughing at chocolate? Huh? Can you guess what's in here? Thanks to Thule UK for sorting us out with a discount on a new bike rack. Part of the dream living, we're relocating. By the time these videos go out, we'll have left this house. But at the minute we're stuck with one small car, and it's not big enough to get any bikes in. But luckily they're on hand to sort us out with a bike rack to get us by until we can get a big car again. But, yeah, e-bike friendly by all accounts. Not that I've got an e-bike. But... shoes are warm off the radiator. Oh, I think you Tour de France goodie bag. There's a few things in here. This is not a beret. This does have a name, but I can't remember what it was. I did the tour in 2013. There's number 47. These two boys apparently pretty good. Get a 2-page spread. Cab gets a 1-page spread. Magazines Direct get a 1-page spread. Phillipson gets 2 pages. So does this kid, little Jimmy Shaw. Shaw takes the long road to the very top. British rider is making maiden outing at the Tour de France and turning heads in the mountains. This is actually an old teammate of mine as well. This is Ruben Guerrero. I feel like the whole point of this, I said earlier, that I really find an attachment to the Tour and the Strade Bianche, and I don't really know why. I feel like the whole point is like they're so romantic as races. I know Bettiol, who is the Italian champion at the minute, he said last year or the year before that he felt he was the last of the romantic races because he didn't use a power meter. I don't think it's true. I think, you know, you look at guys like my 2 teammates, Archie and Ben, who are 2 of the romantic racers, and yeah, just because you wear a speed suit or whatever, it doesn't really matter. You know, you've got guys like Froome, who's an older generation rider who's not particularly romantic at all, and then the young guys like Archie. So I think for today's recce of the tour courses in Yorkshire, we need the ultimate romantic machine for the job. The ultimate romantic machine, the ultimate romantic race. The Norton Commando 961 SP, currently on loan from Norton. Big thanks to them. For those of you who aren't familiar with motorbikes, don't understand what Norton is. Norton was a brand in the 60s. Along with Triumph and the like. You've all seen Peaky Blinders where they come out of the BSA factory. This was around Birmingham, a little bit later, but similar sort of time. Brand synonymous with racing on the Isle of Man, is now trying to make a comeback, looking better than ever with the ultimate romantic bike. 70s and 80s struggled and lost a lot of their way, lost a lot of their path. So unfortunately, bikes like that. So why does this represent romance and what does it link to cycling? It is what Colnago is to cycling. This is to motorcycling. What the C-Series Colnago represents is the bike that nobody asked for, the bike that we need. It's not about big power and big horsepower. It's not about all the things, the modern technology. It's about the raw, bare bones romance that motorcycling has, and that it's reborn, and the bike is proof that British rock and roll will never die. The romance being that, along with the tour, we sit here off Home Moss today, and we're now off to see a very special guest who lives down in Nottingham, who is the most cycling fanatic person you'll meet, and idol to, I think, everyone. A bit of an idol to myself, a bit of motivational person to why I continue to race on two wheels, because he was in the limelight with the British Cycling Track Programme when I was a little boy. So let's go and visit our special guest and see if he likes the trusty Norton.
Sent you a little WhatsApp video of you turning up, James.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'll add that. See if we get that edited in the video.
We were doing actually, we were planning on doing this first and then going to, you know, Monyash Car.
Oh yeah, the top of the hill climb, Peak District way.
Out of Bakewell. Go out of Bakewell.
Yeah, there's a big hill climb there, isn't there?
I can't think what hill climb would be there.
What's his name runs it up?
No, oh, you're thinking of Monsell.
Yeah, oh,
no, that's
right.
the pub at the top. Monyash
Yeah.
is like
There's like there's trails around there, isn't there? Like
round Monsell.
Monyash.
Monyash, it probably is, I'm not sure. Monyash is a big, yeah, we got told off, didn't we? There's like a bit like, it's like, what is it? It's like an old biker's cafe, isn't it? Like a bit of a, not a greasy spoon, but like a bit of a...
You've been there as well today then, have you?
No, but that was the plan, was we were going to do this and then go there. It's the kind of place where like they do jacket spud, cheese and bean and like chips with proper stuff with Coleman's is a bit fancy. It's like all couscous and coleslaw in it. Yeah, it's all, everything's sourdough.
Yeah,
it's expensive. It depends.
Was it worth the 42 quid you just spent? That's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah, it was very nice. I'm tight though, which is my problem. So if I like see 42, I'm like, go on, son. Right, should we talk about some bike racing?
Bike racing, yeah. So this is the old road of the Tour de France. Was it stage 3 or stage 2?
2, York to Sheffield.
York to Sheffield. He definitely finished in Sheffield. Nibali won it, didn't he?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I think he did, because he went into yellow, didn't he?
Nibali won it,
Yeah.
and then he went on to win the Tour, I think. Nibali has won the Tour, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he's won all three. He's won all three Grand Tours.
Yeah, I'm sure this is the year he won it.
Yeah.
It should be 2014. But yeah, he started in York, and the crowds in York were like ridiculous. And I mean, this place, Home Firth, to be fair, it's got like good community vibes and community spirit at most times. But yeah, when the Tour was coming, every pub, every car park, every house down here just had yellow bikes in the window, jerseys hanging up. Like the place just went absolutely mental. Dream, thanks very much.
Do you want to be on YouTube? You can plug yourself.
What did you order? A latte cappuccino?
Yeah. I had a tea.
Oh, you had a tea?
I had a tea.
I had a latte cappuccino.
There you go, Ellie.
You were the other coffee then, weren't you? You were the other latte cappuccino.
Yeah.
I'll have a
Chris on a tea, is it?
I'll have a proper brew.
Yeah, on the day of the Tour, James, like there was no movement. This road, there's a few parked cars in it and stuff. It was just all, barried off, no parking signs and that. And it was just absolute carnage, on the lanes behind. There was literally like tens, if not hundreds of thousands of cars parked all the way down the main road that goes to Manchester. And this road, like before the Tour came, it was just wall to wall with like a religious march, all like walking up to the top of our mosque because there was nowhere to park up there.
Oh, so everyone parked this end of things.
Yeah,
and then
on any little like lane or lay-by or anything. There was farmers up there that were like renting out their fields to like camper vans and parking on the day, but it was just, you couldn't believe like how many people were here. And
then everyone made the pilgrimage up to. Are you a Yorkshire tea man? What do you have in your house? But you bet you're Yorkshire tea.
Yorkshire tea, yeah.
Aren't you?
The Brownlee brothers are sponsored by Yorkshire tea, aren't we?
Are they?
Yeah. What yourself up, mate? It's too late for me. I'm retired
Just
now.
walk in and be like, I want some sponsorship.
Just tell them who you are and tell me you want to be a Yorkshire tea ambassador.
Do you know what I am? Cycling shorts. What would be your ideal sponsor, other than Cam's, by the way? Which, if you have an accident and you're knocked off your bike, get in touch with Ed. He'll make sure you get sorted out by the right people. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I like Cams. They look after the vulnerable road user. I think like you ride your motorbikes, they've got the Macam side. I ride my push bikes. More than one occasion I've like been stood bloody funerals of, for people that aren't around here anymore. And I like that they do a good job of protecting the vulnerable road user, and they've really done some great stuff. Even like close friends I've had have used them. So it's me, I keep my profile relatively low. I just crack on, do my day jobs, active travel, British cycling work that's like close to my heart, and it's the one real sponsorship gig I've got, so try and keep one. It is the dream one for me, to be fair. It ties in nicely with active travel stuff. And
I thought you were going to say like you'd have a dream sponsorship of something like Rolex
Ferrari
watches or something. Yeah, something like that. Or Norton motorcycle.
Mine was Biscoff.
Yeah, I think in my youth I'd much rather had like a Ferrari sponsorship or something, but I don't care anymore.
Don't care anymore.
No, I just don't care. I feel like genuinely feel like I've got everything I ever wanted. Do you know what I mean?
You have, haven't you? Because tell everyone how many fancy gold medals you got in the end.
There's 3 Olympic gold medals, 1 bronze,
just 1 bronze.
Was it 5 or 6 World Championships, a few Commonwealth Games, silvers and bronze, but never a gold. I mean, I was absolutely rubbish on the road compared to yourself, mate. But we did a few training camps and that, didn't we? Did you see how rubbish I was at climbing?
Did odds and sods? No, I didn't actually.
I must have blagged it. It must have been a good day. But yeah, I mean, that was, I'd say a bit of regret, but I wish I was better on the road as well. And I remember watching this race in 2014, when it came through. Yeah. And I was obviously a cyclist at that point in time in 2014. And the 2 days prior, I had just contracted with Yorkshire Building Society, I think, just to do some like, commercial work and a bit of sponsorship stuff. But the day that it came through here, I had a day off. And I just remember thinking, well, I'd like do anything. I'd have given anything to like ride this stage in particular. I mean, it literally went right past my front door, just a few hundred meters down there. And it was just so cool when the helicopter came through, and the crowds are absolutely massive. But I mean, it's yet to be confirmed in 2027, mate. But
2027.
There's rumours, right?
Isn't it? Rumours. There's rumours at 2027, and there's no smoke without fire, is there? But there's nothing. I don't think anything's confirmed in stone yet. It'd be good, eh?
It'd be mint. I think
it would be mint. Because we've had it started in London in 2004.
Yeah. Or maybe after that. I mean, did Cav rode it, didn't he, in Geraint?
Maybe 2006, 2007.
2006, I reckon, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds probably a bit more right. And then it came again in Yorkshire in, what did you say, 2014, 2015?
2014,
yeah. So we are do it again.
I just remember...
Where would it be, though?
Oh, if it came here. I mean, first of all, it ain't confirmed yet. Fingers crossed it is coming. But I don't know, I just think wherever it lands would be amazing. There's a women's tour as well. I don't know what might or might not happen with with that as well. But they'd both be great. I think
Good to have like a Snowdonia stage or something, wouldn't it? You know, and just like just go and watch everyone, just the best riders in the world, Pog, Vingegaard, just knock 7 bells out of each other at the tumble or something.
Yeah.
So that'd be quite good.
I think back to 2014 as well, and I remember there was a lot of sort of murmurings. The climbs are only short, and they were almost predicting like not necessarily a bunch sprint in Sheffield, but a sizable group,
like a reduced bunch. 70, 80 guys.
There was definitely not talk of like solo breakaways and Nibali winning it and going on to win the Tour. But
was Sagan second?
I don't know. I just remember it was an absolute tear up. It was just like ridiculously hard roads, and you know, I think they went relatively steady up over Moss, and it sort of stayed together. But yeah, I think everyone was taken back by how tough British roads were.
Oh, well, it's the same.
So Fast and Furious.
Yeah. I'm coming for you, Paul.
How tough the roads were.
Oh yeah, that's it. Because you see it in Tour of Yorkshire every year when everyone used to arrive from like the south of Spain and they'd all been on training camps, and then they'd get here and then it'd be raining and they'd be like treading treacle on these slow roads, and then they'd go climb off after one day, wouldn't they? Because they couldn't quite hack it.
Yeah, it was tough.
It was the same in the Tour.
A long time ago as well. I remember one of the first, in the third or fourth edition of the Tour of Britain, Tom Boonen was here, and I think he was world champion that year, and he crashed going down. You'll know the Strines well.
Yeah.
The first proper descent from this side, there's like a real tight hairpin right.
Yeah.
And Tom Boonen binned it. He was just chilling out in a sort of gruppetto that day with me. Not chilling out, obviously. I was just going flat out to stay there.
Chilling out with you. I think he was there because he knew who you were.
No,
he was like, I want to ride with Ed today.
I don't think so, mate. I remember he crashed on that first right-hand hairpin, and he was kicking off saying the roads are too dangerous. And I was like, hang on a minute, this guy's won Flanders, Roubaix and all that. And
yeah, it's weird, yeah. I growing up, Boonen was a bit of a hero of mine. I remember when he rode for Quickstep when he was world champ one year. I can't remember. I think might have been Stoke-on-Trent. It finished one stage of the Tour of Britain, and I was stood on the last corner, maybe 150 metres to go, and he came round. He just binned it straight into the barrier, and I remember being like, "Whoa, Tom Boonen!" And then tried to get to sign my jersey afterwards. And then I think it was maybe my.
Did he sign it after he crashed on the last corner?
No, I found him in his camper afterwards. He'd been to podium as, I think he won the most aggressive rider of the day or something like that. So yeah, this was when he had hair. And then it was his last year, and he was like, right, this is his big year to go and win Roubaix. And I was Neo Pro, and I think this would have been 2017. And I think I rode Newsblad. Tried to lead the Lotto boys out into the corner, and it all got caught up in a bit of a thing, and he went down in a crash, and he came to me and he blamed me for causing the crash. And
have you got over that?
I remember thinking Tom went from here to here in my expectations, and I was like, right, I've got it in for you now. I've had enough.
Just still see him on the circuit a bit then.
Yeah, I don't think he has any idea where I am. Like, he don't give a shit about me.
If you remind him about that stage, he'll remember you.
Yeah, I bet if I remind him about the time I knocked him off. Ended it because then he didn't win Roubaix like that year, and I felt like I wanted to blame myself.
He'll be right.
He's got enough of those cobbles, hasn't he? He doesn't need another one.
Yeah, he'll be fine, mate.
Yeah, he was like that. Old Boonen. The thing we're talking about today as well is the romance of cycling.
Romance of cycling.
Romance. So, what is your favourite race? What race do you look at as like the most romantic? If you could have one road victory. You could have a Liège or a Roubaix or a Flanders. I think mine would be Strade Bianchi.
Good choice.
I like Strade, because that.
You're not riding it, are you?
I leave on Tuesday.
You're joking?
Yeah, I leave on Tuesday.
And your race is Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Is it? Right.
You're doing the Sportif, aren't
Guess who's going to be on touch on Saturday night to get some top tips from the Sportif on Sunday?
Jesse. Wait, what? You and Jesse.
Yeah. Oh, you're looking forward to it?
Yeah. It's my favourite race of the year.
Why? You've done it before, right?
This will be 5 times now. Yeah. So I've done it before. Done it a few times.
Veteran, mate. You're a veteran.
Yeah, slightly seasoned. Should you say slightly seasoned? I like it because, don't get me wrong, I like Roubaix.
Yeah.
I think Roubaix, Flanders is the only monument I haven't started. So I did attempt to Roubaix, and I didn't make it to the Velodrome. I don't know. There's something about. I mean, I know Strada. It's not a monument, and it's not particularly a long one-day race. But for me, it's so much more romantic. Siena as a city.
Yeah.
it is a beautiful place with loads of history and other things happen. We're like Oudenaarde, the other 364 days a year. It's just a sleepy Belgian town.
Yeah.
So you want your dream one day race on the road?
It'd be Liège, because I think that's where my kind of 2007. So prior to Beijing, like, you know, before you kindly mentioned the gold medals earlier, but you know, before I'd done any of that, I was trying to do what you are doing, like, you know, be a decent road rider.
You rode on the Pro Conti team,
Lambo credit.
yeah, with Maxime Monfort. He'd have been there that year.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, and I was Paul Manning as well. He was on the track riders out with me in Belgium. And 2007, we rode Liège. I'm not sure why. That's the race really where I think, like, you know, my professional dreams died. And I just realised at that point, like, despite the fact I was like fully committed to it, I'm so happy it takes so much pleasure, mate. But no, it's like, I proper went for it. Like, I did everything I could. There was like perfect 2-man breakaway, went straight away that first climb out of the neutral.
Yeah.
And we rode along so steady. We got to the turn point, crossed over the road, and then the chase started, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is just ridiculous. It just felt like a sprint on the track, but it went on for about 45 minutes, and then I sort of slowly got gapped before the second feed, and then, you know, I did eventually make it to Liège again after it went to Bastogne, but it was a long time after the time limit, and I was just like,
267k, isn't it?
it's a big one, yeah. And I've dropped easy 100k out.
From a data point of view, from my data anyway,
Yeah.
Liège is the hardest.
Okay. So you're saying I could have made it in something else?
I think Roubaix and Flanders, mate, it would have been a different story. Liège, so like the repetition of sprinting into every climb is ridiculous, isn't it?
Oh,
like you do 15-20 minutes is the bomb of every climb. Like the TSS from Roubaix, even if I had a finish, wouldn't have made the TSS of Liège. Liège is by far the hardest one-day race I think I've done.
And then it's up a little bit.
Liège is, for me, I don't think I've raced anything harder than Liège.
It's a nerdy question. You can edit this out. What, like, average power for like the big classics? Is this top secret?
No, it's not really secret. It all gets I put everything on Strava. For something like Liège, I do an early team job, bail out the way, and I'm probably at like 275 to 280 for 4.5-5 hours at 64 kilos.
Normalised power, that's a real teller though, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you normalise and your average are close, that's when you know it's been like a really tough day. Yeah, but you're probably looking at like, you would be way into the 330s, 340s for 5 hours. And then you think if you go racing for the win, you're probably also racing for another 2 hours on top at 4, 5, 6 hours.
And if you weigh 78 kilos on a light day, you're looking at big numbers then, aren't you?
You're looking at a normalised of a good amount over 400 watts, aren't you?
And that's why I never finished Liège.
415, 420.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
At 78 kilos. Yeah.
I mean, talking about like the romance of cycling though, and you know, here for the sort of Tour de France chat as well. I think you know, a big part of the romance of like big races for me is like the social impact stuff that happens off the back of what you do. So for example, like a big race came through here in 2014, but in the weeks and the months and even years that followed it, I tell you what, like every sunny Sunday, there was thousands and thousands of like leisure cyclists, you know, would come from far and wide, either park up locally and ride the bike over Omos to sort of like pitch themselves against, you know, the data from the pros, or all just the locals that go batter up and down Omos and literally do the tour route over the Strines into Sheffield and all that. And for me, that's like the social impact. So the leisure riding, like the kids that have been inspired, just the community sort of coming together and getting all the yellow bikes in the windows and stuff. I love that. And I think for me, that's the most beautiful thing about when you get to my age. Like, seriously, like you look back and you're like, oh, you're dead happy you won stuff, and you're sort of like less upset about the things you didn't win. But I'm like, oh, perhaps the best thing was it just inspired a few kids to, like, you know, get out and play bikes.
It's funny you say this, because like as a kid, like I grew up and like there was like, I'll never tell him this, and he's if he watches this. I was inspired by Bibby, so I was
Ian Bibby.
To start off with, there was a guy at the club called Rob Parkin, and he lived behind Tesco on his own, bless him. He's a married man with kids now. He lived behind, I was like, fuck. And he just raced Knots and Derbies on weekends, and he occasionally go to a national trophy, and he'd, you know, get battered by Bibby. But I was like, fuck, I want to be like Rob from Hina. And then it was like, I want to be like Bibby. And then and then it was guys like yourself, you know, when yourself, G, Pete and Berkey.
Oh yeah, Berkey as well. Yeah.
'Cause I rode with Berkey on a team.
He is a champion. To be fair, I love Berkey.
So when I saw guys like yourself, and I was like, all right. And then you see like, you know, then like the tour came here, and obviously at this point Brad had already won the tour.
Yeah.
G later went on to win the tour.
Yeah.
And then for myself, I was like, the tour came here, and I was like, wow, the tour's actually, I don't know what I am. As the crow flies, maybe I'm 50k away from home.
Yeah.
So it inspired me, but like guys like yourself, I reckon.
So this is all potential
That could be
unraveling
like
for you
it.
then. So how old are you now?
28.
And if the tour comes here in 2 years' time in 2027, that'll put you at 30 years old, eh? That's not a bad time to have a home tour, is it?
Not a bad time at all.
If it happens.
If it happens, and touch wood it does, and we hope it does. And we hope
Yeah.
that obviously all that led to the point where I eventually did get to then ride that tour in 2023. So it's like people like yourself and people and the tour coming here, that's what gets people like me from shitty little estates in ex-coal mining villages in the north of England to the biggest bike race in the world. To a lot of people, maybe yourself, going through like when you're a kid at school to be an Olympic champion. The bridge in the middle is a bit lost, isn't it? Really, you don't really know. Like, I don't know how I ended up going.
What do you
to
mean
the Tour
by
de
the bridge?
France.
Oh, right. How it actually unravels, you mean?
Yeah, like I don't know. How did so when you were
Just seems like a blur, you're right. It doesn't...
when you were like walking around, I don't know, whatever,
yeah.
at school when you were like 10, 11 and people were like, what do you want to do? Because when I was a kid as well, and people said, I said to people, I want to be a pro bike rider. That was like a bit of a stupid thing to say. Like, because it was like, it wasn't a fashionable sport at that point.
No.
It wasn't cool to be a pro bike rider.
There's
imagine
nothing
probably,
cool about Lycra, and there probably still isn't.
No, and shaving your legs and everything like that. It was just, it was like, that's a bit, it was not one cool where like, the chat where people like, if you said to kids, if you said to any kid in the UK, what do you want to be in, the say a professional footballer, everyone, well, someone's got to do it, you know, that kind of attitude. And it's like the chances of you being a professional bike rider are probably way better than being a professional footballer. But so you're like 10 at school. How'd you go on to then win an Olympic medal with?
I mean, there's
guys that went on to win the tour. Do you know what I mean?
Throughout the journey. I mean, like the very first memory of first memory being a kid is just love like adventure, independence of like this daft white BMX I had with like mismatched brake cables. It was probably like dragged out of a recycling centre, but it didn't matter. It was just like it was just fun, freedom, independence, and then I remember watching Chris Boardman like roll out this, like, I can picture it today, like tri-spoke Mavic front wheel and that monocoque frame, and you know, that was Barcelona in 1992, and I'd have been 7 years old at that point. And I was like, wow, that is just, it was both like you know, when you're a daft kid, you just speed around on your daft white old BMX, and it was just the combination of that and the technology. I was just like, wow, this is so cool. And I sort of memory probably like drifted into the back of my head, but it was always there. And I just used to enjoy like mountain bikes, racing bikes, all of this stuff, you know, as a teenager. But really, like the stars aligned when British Cycling's talent team popped up. And I knew you'd have probably just missed that era, but you know, myself, Lizzie Deignan, Jason Kenny, Laura Kenny, Joe Rousel, Ben Swift, you know, even Geraint and Cav were sort of like moments on the talent team. And it was real basic, you know, they'd literally just, super basic. They just talent ID'd kids, 3-minute test, sprint test, lung capacity test, and that's how it sort of happened. I mean, I owe my whole career really to, you know, lottery funding, British Cycling, the whole Pathways and talent ID program, and you know, I was just a dreamer, mate. But how about yourself? What was your earliest memories of cycling?
Yeah, I don't know really.
It's not this, isn't it? I mean, 'cause I've only just known you as like James Shaw, like the superstar, like, you know, I probably knew you in 23, 24, 25. But there's a lot of like formative years before then, isn't there? You know what I mean?
It is. I don't really know, because like I don't come from a cycling family. Like,
No,
I don't,
same,
like
yeah.
you know, like there are kids that come from cycling families, like either the Walkers maybe, or people that it's almost like they're not born into it, but like
it's like just passed down, hereditary, isn't it? It's like you become a cyclist, your dad was a cyclist, so your dad's dad.
You know, or maybe Jesse and his dad. You know, it's like where for me, I wouldn't really like that. Like I don't know, both my parents are teachers, and it's like I just had you know, I don't think there was ever any ambition to like for me to become a cyclist. So I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe
you must have some like early memory or like love of cycling.
He's just inspired by the tour, that's why he's going up there.
Exactly,
He's going, I want to be like Ed Clancy.
That's the social impact we're talking about, you see.
I don't know really, so I guess it was just the fact that like I say, I had this ambition to be like Rob at the club, And then once I got to that, it was Bibby. And then
Bibby?
once I felt, never tell him that.
Well, he's going to know. Why are you in Bibby then? Because he's going to know anyway.
I don't know.
Tell you what, he was good. Like, he was genuinely very, very good, Bibby.
Talent, from a talent point of view.
Yeah.
I think he knows it as well. He knows he was talented. He's not fucking shy
Yeah,
about it.
I mean,
He's not modest at all.
No, I mean, everyone could have knuckled down. Everyone, including me, like at points, so it's definitely like years even. I just, you're not fully committed.
I think the sport's too hard now. I don't think you can.
Too hard, yeah.
I don't think you can.
I always thought that, to be fair, but yeah. Why was it? It has changed, hasn't it? I mean, these kids are just.
This is what I mean. I think the days when we see guys like Valverde going into their 40s, Jens Voigt going, I don't think we'll see that anymore. I think guys are going to be done. I think if you can get out at 35.
Hey Martin, how you doing? Sorry.
When Doyley put on the...
yeah, I remember the milk race, yeah.
And we rocked up and Dad had just bought this van.
Yeah.
And we were like, all right, anyway, and parked up next to you. And then Dad opened the back of the van and you just jumped out and you were like, I just got changed the back of the van. And Dad was like, oh, because you just got changed the back of the van, and continued to tell everyone for about the next 10 years.
Did he ask permission or did he find you random?
You just got saw the van and just got in it. And
didn't do that?
Ask him when he comes back.
That's disgraceful even for me. I don't know why I'd have done that.
You were like, to be fair, we
right
parked next
in the middle
to you.
of Nottingham though, wasn't it? I remember the milk
It was
race.
city centre, and the changing rooms were the town hall, which was 300 or 400 metres walk. You'd have to have crossed the course, and it did look like we were just your team van as well. So it looked like we were. So you had your van, and then not the TP, what do you call the thing? Dad.
Simon, I got changed in the back of your van.
You did?
Yeah. Before the milk race in
Friar Lane in Nottingham.
Did he even ask permission then, or did he just go in the back of an empty van and get changed?
Yeah, he went back of an empty van, and I said to James, "Why is Ed Clancy naked in the back of our van?" But he must
I
be
don't believe
milk
it.
race crit Nottingham 2014.
I should probably say sorry for that. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Well, it's better than getting changed on Friar Lane because you probably got arrested for that.
That's over 10 years ago. Can you still get arrested for such things?
I imagine you would do on Friar Lane, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go. Just got a brand new van, and then I just get it changed the back of it.
Yeah. What a disgrace.
That's what happens in cycling, don't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Obviously didn't offend anyone too much. But yeah, that's what I like about cycling. We're talking about like social impact. It does bring communities together, I think.
Yeah. It is. It's a small world then, and we actually need to look after each other quite well, don't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Because we are a bit rubbish,
like, there's always a couple of like, it's easy to get, you know how it is. It's quite argy-bargy at times, like for the actual races and the races. But I mean, genuinely, like all my best friends have come from cycling, and they still are like ex-cyclists or cyclists, and yeah, at least that's how I feel.
How many people have you had like not a punch up with, but had a to do with in a race that are then like, because I know loads of people that I've like bumped into in a race and been like, I'm gonna punch you after the race, then afterwards been maybe sat in the hotel or whatever and been like, oh, you enjoying your dinner, and it's been completely gone in the way. It's like completely.
Yeah. Not very often, to be fair. I mean, like, I don't know how, but
you seem like
I avoided a lot of carnage.
Yeah.
I bang on about the guy a lot, but that Professor Steve Peters we had, that psychiatrist in British cycling, I won't bore you with the detail, but like, you know, when you're in a perceived threatening environment, so like when you're in pain, when you're hungry, when you're sleep deprived, that is the life of a cyclist, right? It sends blood to the limbic lobe, so you're always in like fight, flight and freeze. So when I saw people kicking off or having a go, and you know, even when I sort of kicked off myself and had a go, I was like, oh, it's a primitive part of my brain just trying to keep me alive in the jungle. It's not necessary to make cool, calm, calculated, rational decisions or say smart things in a bike race. And I was just like, look, we've all just gone into chimp mode, as he'd call it, and I just sort of like shrugged it off. Yeah, I try and retain a bit of that. Although I do still get, everyone loses it. I still lose it now and again. But I think Steve Peters really put us ahead of the rest of the game with that one, yeah. Yeah.
Is that one of the most valuable lessons you learned?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, British cycling was a cracking system. It still is, but Professor Steve Peters, Sir Dave Brailsford, you know, he was a great leader in sport. And yeah, I think we had two of the best in that era. And those two in particular like really helped put us ahead of the game. Because as well in the wind tunnel, another genius. Just so smart and creative, really, from that point in time. Yeah.
Because I effectively my pathway was the opposite. I think pretty dissimilar to yours. Is I got offered that track program and turned it down to go out and race in Belgium. Like, I did the opposite. Like
British cycling would have much less value to you than someone like me, though, wouldn't it? If you were a good road rider. You weren't so interested in the track, And like, you know, that old place is obviously it's helped a lot of road riders get in there, you know,
Yeah.
Geraint and so on, but it's
Yeah,
become less and less,
Brad.
hasn't it, to be honest? And there's more and more ways for British riders like yourself. To be
Yeah.
fair, you sort of like, you're one of the pioneers of that
One of the
path, really.
OGs. Well, yeah. As with one of the, because there's the Blythe, the Maclays,
Yeah, I forgot about Dan, yeah.
myself, and then it became a little bit more mainstream, didn't it?
Yeah,
Because the Rainer Fund obviously helped everyone a lot. Adam.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like with the BC system, you can get two identical twins, and one did it and one didn't.
Yeah.
Yet
yeah,
they've
I
both
remember.
got to a very similar point. They are different riders, Adam and Simon.
Okay, because I just, you know, as an relative outsider, I look at both of them, they just look so similar, even the way they pedal, and they'll literally like get out the saddle in sync and things.
Yeah, I think Simon's the better one-day racer, Adam's the better Grand Tour rider.
Okay, yeah.
I think, I mean, not that my opinion means anything. Like, you look at the results those two have got, even if half of it is 10 times better than I could ever dream of. But I see Adam a lot more as, pushing the GCs, and Simon a little bit more explosive and a little bit more suited to that one-day stuff. But then at the minute, they're both looking like they're going to, I mean, with any luck, they'll probably go to the Giro and battle it out against each other this year, eh?
Is that right? Yeah, wow,
could be
that'd be something,
interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're two absolute giants, aren't they, of British cycling, really, and again, they're sort of like, they'll keep their profile fairly low, don't they?
Yeah,
I like that about both of them.
They're very modest sports, aren't they?
They do that.
Very,
I love the way they
very
just like
modest
come
sports.
from like top of Manchester, just go out there and just crack on with like doing epic things. It's
I have to check some results actually, see if one of them rode this road that year.
you know, and again, like we've been talking about the potential of the Tour de France coming in 2027, right? We just think about like the potential Brit lineup you'd have.
Be incredible, wouldn't it? Really.
Front and centre, you got you, James, the two Yates brothers,
Maclay.
Dan McClay. Yeah,
Could
imagine him like having a good go at like
a nice.
Is he still the world's best downhill rider in this place has ever seen?
He's definitely one of. Matthew Horrick's pretty good, isn't he, at going downhill? Van der Poel's pretty good at going downhill.
Yeah.
But in terms of Brits, Lewis Askey, Jake Stewart, those two could be there. And then you got to think as well, you got your Mark Donovans, James Knoxes.
So many, isn't there?
Yeah. And then you've got the plastic paddies, Ben Healy.
Oh, yeah.
From Birmingham.
Yeah.
Archie Ryan from Wales/Australia.
What's a young lad from up in Scotland, Corf? His name's just evading me right now.
Oscar Onley.
Oscar Onley, what do you reckon to him?
He could be that 2-3 years time. He's looking at winning the stage, isn't he?
Yeah.
He'd be up there.
I remember watching the Tour of Britain. I saw a few sort of stages live. I mean, you can never see him like live, but he just looked
massively
so legit. You know, for such a young guy, like so confident.
Stevie Williams.
Yeah,
Stevie Williams would be 2 years time. He'd be up for.
Wow.
If I was allowed to bet on it, I think Oscar or Swill. I think I'd bet on one of them to win a stage.
Yeah.
That'd be
pretty cool, wouldn't it?
I think there's a long shot 2 years out. It's not a bad place to. Not a bad place to bet on.
No, not at all.
As it for a stage, GC, that'd be a long shot, wouldn't it? But especially like in a minute, with the level of riders we've got, it'd be difficult, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exciting potential though, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot of potential. We better think about getting home actually, because we might not get home in the daylight.
Oh yeah. Sorry, we're yapping on about the tour. Like.
Ed, thanks very much for your time.
Sorry, I've got eating a biscuit, but no, thanks so much for having me.
Caught you right out of the
Thanks for
moment.
visiting home.
He's got another one in his pocket, ready to go. Yeah, thanks for inspiring us. Thanks for inspiring a generation and bringing us to the romantic road of where the tour has been. And we'll stay in touch and see what happens. Crack on the Norton.
Cheers, Dave. Thanks. Let me do it in an off-road location so we don't get told off by the helmet police.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Baldwin says you don't have to wear a helmet, doesn't he?